Hello. My vlog today is in the studio. I've set my GoPro at the other end so you can see everything. Now I know that means that for a certain portion of this I will disappear. I wanted to talk about the studio today and something that I've been thinking about for a wee while now. As you can see, I have not dismantled the studio. Thank you to all the lovely emails, by the way, and the support and all of that. You've been absolutely fantastic and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. I have, as you can see in the background here, I have decluttered quite a bit. I want to now, I'm thinking of a tea time show, either Monday to Friday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or as and when it happens. But a tea time show that would go out about 6 o'clock and I would record it about 4:30, giving me time to encode it and upload it. A studio-based show, but a chat show about all things English and Englishness, which is, you know, my subject. And it could be anything to do with England and Englishness. So not necessarily English stuff particularly, but it could be just an opinion on what's going on if there are interesting things in the news that are affecting England and Englishness. It could be just talking about certain icons of England and all sorts of things. So it will be work in progress, but I want to make it fun and entertaining. That's my background. So I don't want it to be a serious a political thing or anything like that. The politics might come into it, of course, but I don't want to make it purposefully that. Now, you've seen I've come in. What did I just do with the other thing? Here it is. I have here the English flag. Now, if you've watched my videos, you'll remember we put this. We did a few things where we were flying the flag, which was great. And I'd like to do some more of that, taking the flag into different places and flying it with the lovely Julia at some point. I want to put this somewhere in the set, and I want to take down or have hanging somewhere else the Union flag, because this is about England and Englishness, and I want to make that point. Now, I do have, very kindly, Tim, quite why he bought it or what he was going to do with it. We do have the flagpole, and this flagpole in this box comes in stages. It's an aluminium flagpole. Unfortunately, it fell over and the little top globe thing here has got a little bit broken, which is a shame, but it probably won't matter. We could glue it together. Now, of course, it's quite big, so I'm just wondering what to do with this. I was wondering whether I can put the flag on here. I probably wouldn't need all the things. And I'm wondering also, my ceiling, look at that. My ceiling is not high enough. I don't know whether you can see, but it isn't quite, okay. So that won't go. My other thought was, will this bit of plastic tubing, I think this is going to be too, that'll just disappear in there. Oh yeah, unless one tapes it. But I like the fact that it's got the little globe thing on the top. But if not, no worries, because we'll use this in the video. So hang on, I need to put this back. So this is a very strange vlog. It's me being a bit clumsy in the studio on the GoPro in the background. I hope it's marginally interesting. You can see all the equipment, of course, which is all pretty old and obsolete. Even the camera, unfortunately, now is, I mean, this is the trouble with technology, isn't it? Let me just shove this back over here, out the way. This is the trouble with technology, isn't it? That technology, you know, this camera is a beautiful camera and it cost me quite a bit of money, but now it's out of date. It still works, but it's mainly just a studio camera And it probably wouldn't fetch very much on a second-hand market. But it's good for me because it does what I need it to do. And it's like all these things, you know, the computer is pretty old. The lights, you know, they're cheap as chips these days. Back in the old days, you know, when you had to buy redheads and blondes, that was the sort of nickname of them. I think a redhead was 700 watts and a blonde was 2,000 watts. And they were not tungsten, they were, what was the, I used to know the names of all these things. The bulbs were the same type of bulbs as, they were kind of a tungsten colour, so they would let off a slightly bluey light and you'd have to adjust them a bit. Or was it the red light that you would adjust with an 85 filter? What's I can't think of the sodding name now, but instead of being LED, they were these very highly volatile bulbs that you would get in the builders' floodlights. Halogen, thank you. I got it in the end. You were willing it to me. Halogen lights. Very expensive. So these now are so cheap, it's absolutely fantastic. Everything is relatively cheap, you know, so if you're setting up your own studio, you don't need a lot. So now, I've got my English flag here. What I could probably try and get is a little bauble, like a Christmas bauble to fit on there. So you would have that, you know, little top thing. And I don't know that I would necessarily want it draped like this. That might be just a bit over the top. But just like that, maybe it could even be in front of some of this in some like little holder, possibly. One of the tasks I wanted to do, because I love the Union Jack and it's great, but I want to take it off here because I don't know that it's the right thing. So I think it's only held, yeah, it's only held by screws. This background might all change over time. There's the old Bald Explorer. Let's just turn you off for a second because I need to get round here. So I haven't worked all of this out. Somebody very kindly sent me this. I don't know if you can see that. Morris Traveller. And I am thinking, it's a wishful thought, of buying a Morris Traveller because I think they're so lovely. But I don't know where to put one. Haven't got the money spare to actually make the purchase. Oh, hello. I need a screwdriver to get this out. Oh, no, it's out. So we just take this very carefully. Julia very diligently, somebody said, oh, you know your Union flag is upside down. And you can have them upside down. And people, of course, who know the flag will know when it's upside down. And so, here we go. Let's just see if we can just very carefully take that out. Now, one could try, I mean, I could put in there the English flag behind it, but I'm not sure that's really the right thing to do. But people often have them on these poles. Now, I've got some more of this pole material. So we could put these flags somewhere. Bear in mind, if I'm here, normally sitting, I don't want it to be poking out the top of my head. That would be a bit silly. So it could go somewhere else. It could, I wonder if it would drop down here, look. This is where everything goes a little bit, no, there's no point rolling it. Although, yeah, no, actually, let me roll it like this. And then see if, without collapsing anything, it will go. I want it really over the other way a bit more. No, it's not quite where I want it. I want it there. I want it just this. I don't know how much you can see. I'm a bit. Okay, let's try it. Let's pull it out. Wielding this thing on the other side. Oh, my lights are going. Oh, it could go... Why won't that go down? Okay. Does that look silly there? It might look silly. Now I've got to unfurl it a bit. But I can probably do that. Very. So yeah, so an English show. This does. I'm beginning to feel that this is very ridiculous. It would need to be wedged in. Yeah, I think that's silly. I can't really see from back there. I'd have to leave the front. But that does look a bit silly. Okay, now I've got to take it out before I destroy my sign here, which is that word that I can't always remember, whatever the word was. Neon. Maybe it can go in here, but it won't be seen. So I would like to try and get the flag in somewhere, but I'm not quite sure where. And the same goes for this. I mean, they could be draped like that. What one needs is a set designer who actually, somebody artistic to come in and do it. This could go behind here, I suppose, in some fashion. It could hide that. You're all thinking, no, it couldn't, Richard. It looks rubbish. And you're probably right. And my Morris Traveller sign needs to go back. Maybe the Morris Traveller sign, that's going to be too high. And it's likely to fall. But it's got some... Actually, it's got a hole here, look. Will it go on there? I don't know. I'm not really a set designer. We're just trying to make this look interesting but not too cluttered. That's the thing. And I know that so many YouTube channels, they'll just have perhaps a fairly bare wall, one light, and then perhaps a coloured light against the wall. They'll try and keep it dark and have maybe, flowers or something. But I do want this to be interesting. Some people said, well, one person said that the background can be quite distracting. But one of the processes of the background was that when people sent things in, like somebody sent in this egg timer, that you would have it, on the set, so that people could see the things they'd sent in. That was very much the idea, really. I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, to be honest with you. There's the disabled loo key that somebody sent, which was designed really to go in the van, but I have my own loo. So anyway, I don't know what to do with the English flag, but I want to get it in there somewhere. Will it go in there? Maybe it'll go in there for now. I don't know. This is something, I'll get the lovely Julia in. She's far more artistic and we'll work on where it can go. But I think opening up that has been pretty good. Maybe get this back in its place just at the edge of frame. And then one can do this show. So, yeah, that's... So all things English, that's what I want to do. All things English and Englishness and English topics. Whether that be a little bit of history that I bring in. I think it's kind of going to be like a magazine show. There may be bits where I'll go out and record something in the daytime, bring it back, edit it up and put it in. We may talk about books. We may talk about all sorts of things. We'll read out interesting emails. And I think it'll be, as I say, a sort of a regular 3 times a week, possibly Monday to Friday show. It depends. We'll build it up. We'll start off with just the occasional one. And I want it to be fun. I want to be able to get back to something I used to do in the Vobes show when it very first started as a podcast. And that is to be a bit frivolous, a bit fun. These days that we've got at the moment are so fraught with worry, concern, and all of that. And we're all being pressurized, and I want to be able to, in some way, just bring people together. Okay, I do have my own thoughts on things. I have got my own opinion, and I know that people disagree with my opinion. But what I would love to try and get into a show is that it's okay to have a difference of opinion, that you could get somebody perhaps on Skype or Zoom or one of these other things, that you say, look, okay, let's debate this issue in a friendly and humorous manner. So if, for example, I don't think that global warming is such a terrible thing for the planet at the moment, and that we don't need to put everybody through hoops to not have the things they need to get through the winter and put their bills up. I think that we could investigate fracking a bit more. I know the Prime Minister has just gone back on what he said earlier when in his campaign to be Prime Minister, and that fracking was okay. But I think it would be lovely to be independent. So now there'll be somebody on the other side of the argument who is completely against it, and that's fine, of course. We can't do anything about it, but we can have a conversation and just look at the different issues and say, well, why do you think it's not such a good idea? And not get into name calling. Now, I don't want to necessarily do contentious issues like that. I'm just using that as an example, really. It would be far better to have other sorts of interesting things to talk about. But there are things, of course, which are bubbling up and are on people's minds all the time. And we're being told a lot of misinformation, I think, through the mainstream media. And even if you don't think it's misinformation, it's lovely to have the other side or different opinions on it. And I think that's very important. I think we have to reclaim our free speech to be able to say, look, this may be the general feeling, the consensus, but if somebody has a difference of opinion, they must surely be permitted to at least express it and be challenged on it, so that people can say, okay, Richard, look, you don't believe this, you think that. Why? And there may be no coherent reason why I think the way I do, and it may just be, I just have an absolute, I can't put my finger on it, but I have an absolute faith that this is the case. I'm entitled to think that, just as the other person is entitled to have their opinion. And it would be lovely to be able to just bring back the fact that we can have an agreeable conversation where you disagree on things, you lay the point, you might go, actually, I concede that point, I really do. You're quite right there, and I concede your point, you're quite right there. And at the end of it, you're still friends, you're still laughing, you're still having fun. It's not well, you're an idiot for disagreeing with me, and all of that. That might be part of my tea time show. I don't know. At this stage, it's going to develop. And so will the background. So will all of this. And we may rearrange these things. And it may just be me. And occasionally, I'm sure that the lovely Julie will be on the show as well. And we can debate certain things. I just want to keep it loose. I don't want to... My problem was I kept thinking, yes, it's got to be this and this alone. And I kept finding myself falling into this box. And one of the things, I think this will be true to other people who run a YouTube channel, who've perhaps been in the industry, the television industry or the corporate video industry, in which you feel a lot of the time quite constrained to stay within your format. And I think that's where I've come foul, when actually I think the format of a tea time show in which you just talk about anything you damn well like, and it's a sort of magazine-y program, gives you the space not to feel it's got to be about news and views, or it's got to be about politics, or it's got to be about purely English stuff and things like that. And I think that I got stuck in that mode and thinking it's too rigid. But then I've now realised it doesn't have to be rigid. It's YouTube. You can do whatever you like. So I've just been going through this process in my head. And I think it's been cathartic in many ways to explore my background here and maybe strike all of this and change it all. Who knows? So it's all work in progress. But anyway, I don't know. I'm beginning to like the flag there. Where's the English flag? The English flag needs to be more prominent. Perhaps it needs to be more balanced. Depends what's in view. Oh, it's so difficult. It's just so difficult. Anyway, there we go. That's my vlog today. Thank you very much for watching. Watch this space, because when I get the show going, it will, it'll have teething problems. It'll be a bit naff to begin with, like all these things, and then as you get going, and hopefully it'll be a regular feature, and it will be fun. That's the thing. And particularly over November, December, January and February, these 4 months, that's what, 120 odd days, isn't it? To just have something fun. And then next year, when we get into the spring, we'll spend more time going out and about. I can have saved some cash, and we'll have, more of the van life and more of the travelling and more of the countryside. It's just in this wintry period, yeah, we might go out and do the odd thing, but it's just having something that's a little bit more solid. So I don't feel like, oh, where's the channel going? What am I going to do? Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.